Hello my friends, today we're gonna make a huge progressive house drop like Martin Garrix and Dub Vision in FL Studio. First we're gonna make some vibey chords. Then let's cut up the chords and make a nice rhythm for the drop. And lastly, let's make a simple but emotional melody. It's important that the melody is somewhat repetitive if we want it to be catchy. Now that we have the melody and stuff, let's build a fat drop out of it. I would love it if you try to make the drop with me as we go and see if your version turns out nice. That's how I developed my production skills the fastest. Alright guys, we'll start by crafting a huge lead melody. I begin with this Serum lead preset, playing the melody. Then we'll add some more lead layers to fill out the lead. Now that we have a foundation for the lead, let's take it to the next level with some mixing effects. We want to really squeeze as much power as we can out of the lead. Let's begin with an EQ shaping the sound, then compression using OTT, some more compression as well as distortion using Camel Crusher, an EQ to clean it up a bit, then a sound goodizer on mode D to add more punch and power, and lastly 2 more EQs to make the lead just a bit cleaner. This is what the lead sounded like before. And this, my friends, is with the mixing effects. Now we're gonna add a bit of delay on the lead to make it a bit bigger and longer. Now guys, a trick I'm gonna use to make the lead a lot bigger is to export the lead into a sample like this, and then add a reverb on that sample at 100% wet with no dry sound left, so it's just the reverb that plays. When we add this reverb sample on top, the lead will go from this to this. This will enable you to add a lot of reverb while still keeping the lead very present and punchy in the mix. Guys, to make the lead a bit warmer, we're gonna add a nice pluck sample on top without all of the mixing effects we used on the lead. I found this nice pluck and just copy-pasted the lead melody. Now this is the pluck and lead together. I also added some synth shots at a few places to make some notes in the melody hit harder and last longer. Now my guys, let's make a fat bass line that's powerful enough to keep up with the lead. We'll start with a nice sounding bass preset playing this bass line. Then we'll add some more layers to fatten up the bass. The last layer we're gonna add will be a sub bass preset. Now guys, we're gonna add a pitch automation for all the bass layers that looks like this, which makes the bass sound cooler. Now we need the bass to be more powerful if we want it to fit with the lead. We'll begin by mixing the mid-bass layers, so every bass layer except the sub. First we'll add quite a bit of compression with OTT, then we'll add an EQ removing a lot of highs so that the bass won't clash with the lead, then some compression and distortion using Camel Crusher, another EQ, a sound goodizer to add power, and 2 final EQs to clean up the bass a bit more. This was the bass before the mixing. And this, my friends, is with the mixing. Now let's quickly beef up the sub bass. We're gonna take it from this to this We'll do this by adding distortion with Fruity Fastest, OTT, Sound Goodizer, and an EQ. Let's add some stabs on top to make the bass bigger and more powerful. I added these stab samples. I just added the stabs to the same mixer track as the mid-bass layers, and I made them play the same bass line as the main bass. This is what the bass sounded like without the stabs. And this is with the stabs on top. As you can hear, the stabs add quite a bit of energy to the bass. Now let's make some sweet piano chords on top to fill out the drop and add some more emotion. We're just gonna use a simple FL keys piano playing the chords we made earlier. And we're also gonna add this FL keys organ on top. Now we're just gonna add a few mixing effects to add some much needed power to the chords. We'll start with an EQ, then compression with OTT, distortion and compression using Camel Crusher, then a Sound Goodizer on mode D, and another Sound Goodizer on mode A. This will make them punch hard. Then we'll add 2 final EQs to shape the sound a bit more, and lastly a Fruity Stereo Shaper to make the chords wider in the mix. This is the chords without the mixing effects. And this is with. And this is what the chords and bass sounds like together, guys. Now we're gonna add some pads on top which will make the drop bigger. I added these 3 pad layers playing the same chords as the piano and organ. And I'm gonna add a lot of distortion and compression on the pads. We want them to be really dirty because then they will add a lot of texture to the drop. And we'll also add this Fruity Stereo Shaper to make the pads really wide in the mix. This is without the mixing effects. And this is with. I know they sound a bit too distorted, but that is what will bring a lot of the energy to the drop. Just listen to how they sound together with the bass line and piano chords. This is what it sounded like before we added the pads. And this is with the pads on top. As you can hear, they add quite a bit of energy, which is nice. Now, to make the drop more emotional, we're gonna add some harmonies on top of the chords. I just used a quite basic saw layer playing these harmony notes. And I made a cutoff automation controlling the harmonies to make them sound nice. This is the drop without the harmonies on top. And this is with the harmonies. Now we're quickly gonna make a drum pattern with a lot of energy to take the drop to the next level. We're just gonna add a tight kick. Some big drop claps. A normal pre-shift clap. Then a percussion drum to add some rhythm and groove. And a downlifter. Now guys and gals, before I show you the final result, I would truly appreciate it if you checked out my EDM sample pack. Link is in the description. If you get the pack, you'll get 6 FLPs, 280 samples, and 150 serum presets, all made for future house, bass house, slap house, and deep house. Here's a sneak peek of 2 of the FLPs from the pack.